Steven, you think we'll get fairly close to the amount of listeners New Heights had with Taylor Swift?
We'll get there, Derek. We will get there. I don't know how we are going to. Well, for one, we got to set it up so we're not totally live during the podcast. Do you see the new thing that podcasts are doing where they record beforehand, but then they eventually go on YouTube and act as if it's live?
I've seen that many a time. Like we did it with Tom when we did the Tom interview. But
Right.
yeah, isn't that basically what Rogan does? Is his whole thing is taped?
Oh yeah, everything's taped. Everything's taped with him. But we will, Derek. I promise you that we will get 987,000 viewers within the first minute of going live. I promise you that.
Don't make promises you can't keep, Steven.
It's a promise, Derek. I don't know what is going to happen, but it's going to happen. It's a promise.
I think if we bunch all of our streams together that we've ever done on Just Your Opinion, man, we make it a little close.
We'd have a solid 900.
Yeah, probably. What was the thing you posted today when it was Denzel's thing? And we'll play Denzel Washington's fantastic take on just sports media in general. What'd you say? Like 5 of the opiners out there?
Yeah, it's all 8.
8 of them. At least you got to 8.
Yeah, I think we're up to 8 now. See, we have 8 viewers at the current
perfect.
time. Yeah.
Perfect.
No, dude, I promise you. And then I can see it now when I am dead, or on my deathbed rather, and you happen to show up and you say goodbye one last time, and then you'll say,
I'm sorry, you're dying before me?
I might.
Okay, you're young. You're 2 years younger than me, but okay.
Eric, in this scenario, I'm dying before you. Okay,
I'll entertain this fantasy. I like the idea of I outlive you. That's fine.
Yeah. That's what's going on in this hypothetical.
Okay.
I'll be on my deathbed and I'll put my hand out like to dap you up one last time, and then you'll bring me in, and then you'll whisper in my ear, "You never got us to a 900,000 followers."
I blame you for that.
I can picture it now.
You're definitely the reason why we never reached that total. You know, I've been watching clips. I'm hit or miss when I watch New Heights, or listen, I should say. I don't watch. But the biggest thing to me is not so much Taylor Swift. Why did Jason Kelce dye his hair and his beard? It's jet black now. Did you notice that?
I did.
Did he give an explanation of why he's doing that?
Maybe he's like Clooney and he's in a Broadway play.
Yeah. You know what? That'll be very interesting if Jason Kelce was in a Broadway play. Yeah.
That's very, you've made it though when you start dyeing your hair. Like that's when you're on another level.
You've made it?
I think so.
I don't know if you've made it. I think you may have made it at one point. You're trying to get back to when you made it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just speaking for some people that
he does need to get back to where he was before, which is just full grizzly man, long hair and beard, like when he was really just starting out.
Yeah, when he was a rookie, yeah.
When Jason Kelce was becoming Jason Kelce. I think he should get back to that look, but I don't know. There's so many eyes on him. I still like if we ever, for whatever reason, cross paths with him, I would love to ask just how it feels being at the level of celebrity that he's at, because I don't think any NFL center has ever had the level of celebrity that he's had.
Jim Otto was pretty big.
Who?
Jim Otto.
Jim Otto was big within NFL circles, but
I'm kidding.
Capturing the hearts of pop star fans around the world?
No.
You know, I'd be fat. Like even my cousin knows who he is. My cousin, who doesn't know a lick of football. I mean, she knows it a little bit because there's actually I don't want to name who it is, but there's a Jaguars player who tried sliding into the DMs of her friend. So she knows a little bit about football. But now I'm
going to guess.
It's actually, he's on the up and up. If the Jaguars are good, people will hear his name. You don't know.
Brian Thomas?
Huh?
Brian Thomas?
No, people know who he is.
He's on the up and up.
Yeah. I actually, you know what? I'm going
Travis
to
Hunter?
here's the no, not Travis Hunter. No. No. What do you think? He sends like a dancing video to slide in the DM. No, you know what? I'm going to download because my cousin sent me a voice message of it. She was out having drinks with her friends
Okay.
and then sent me a voice message. She didn't text. She doesn't like texting. She's a big voice message person.
Gotcha.
So she sent me one of those voice memos. It lasted like a minute, and I will bleep out the name. But yeah, she was asking if I've ever heard of this player, and I actually hadn't. And I looked him up, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's actually good, like pretty damn good. Has a promising career." So, yeah, maybe I'll play that voicemail on the next pod.
I may need to get to the bottom of this. It's very intriguing.
I don't know how we got to this point, but here we are.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's very interesting. And yeah, that doesn't surprise me because Jason Kelsey's associated with Travis Kelsey, obviously, and Taylor Swift's a huge star, and she rarely does. I don't think she's ever done a podcast interview, so this was bound to be the biggest thing ever when it comes to
For sure.
the podcast community.
And you know that New Heights is going to edit that thing with no pauses whatsoever. I can't. I'm sorry. I think they're a great podcast. I
Yeah.
really do. I watch, the clips on YouTube. I don't really watch it live because there's so much stuff. Like
Right.
I'm starting to get into like political podcasts now because the Giants have me wanting to just pay attention to something that gives me less pain, and that's politics. So
Really?
yeah, that's how poorly they've been playing. So I've been focusing a lot on that. And I do watch clips every now and then. And when they're just like the natural, unedited clips, they're great. But the little ones that they post on like Instagram or Twitter, whatever, X, it's just too edited for me. It's just so much like you could tell there's jumps. And I think that's kind of an issue for me with social media in general. There's just so much of that. And it's like people say like a phrase, maybe even a sentence, and then just pause. All right, let me gather myself so I could say the next thing and just say a sentence. Like, just do it unedited. Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I'm with you, but I think that's just in general with podcast promos is they're very jumpy and they're just unnatural.
Yeah.
If I could just say this real quick, have you ever been like a Taylor Swift fan? Like not even like a fan, but like I gotta be honest, I've never been intrigued by her ever. Like I understand she appeals to young women, older women too, but like even in high school, like my buddies love the Cinderella song, whatever the fuck it was, Romeo and Juliet song.
Yeah.
I have friends that like legitimately like dig her music, guy friends that like love her music. It's not like I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I just never really got into Taylor Swift at all. I don't see the appeal. I get that, she's a huge superstar and she's dating Travis Kelsey. And I don't mind when I really don't care when she's on TV during an NFL game. It's like a couple seconds. It doesn't ruin the game for me. I still see every play. I think people get too weirded out about that shit. But I just don't like, maybe it's just me. Like I'm not into pop stars. So yeah, I don't understand the big appeal of Taylor Swift.
No, I can't say that I ever have, but I see the appeal. Like I get it. People feel like they can relate to her for whatever reason, and they love her lyrics. She seems to be an all around genuinely good person.
Okay.
And pretty easy to root for. So again, Jesse and I, to be honest, have had arguments with it, and she's kind of swayed me. And looking into little things, I don't know, videos of her at like children's hospitals that randomly show up on my Instagram feed, little things. So I get the appeal, but I'm not going to act like I've sat and listened to her music. I tried with a fairly, I mean, she's got the new album on the way, but there was a fairly new one which had the Anti-Hero song, and I listened to it and I was just like,
Yeah.
Again, but it's not for me, but I get the appeal and I get why people were enthralled to tune into New Heights and stuff. And I understand all of that, but it's not something that I'm going to be, setting an alarm for.
No, of course not. I mean, I'm at the point now in my life where I realize things aren't for me. Most things aren't for me anymore. So whatever. If I have interest in it, cool. If I don't, life keeps going on. But yeah, I think whatever, good for New Heights. That podcast blew
Mhm.
up, and then it got even bigger once Travis started dating Taylor, and
For sure.
now she's on it, and they have that exclusive with her. So that's pretty awesome. Good for them. I do think it's lame though when the NFL tries to hitch their wagon to her, like when NFL Network or anybody's like, let's talk Taylor Swift in a segment. I'm like, that's dumb. I don't mind during a broadcast because they always want to have celebrities on screen for TV purposes. But when you're doing it like on NFL Live or First Take, I like that's just lame to me.
Oh, it gave me a good laugh this morning with First Take because I was very curious because again, had what would you call it? The
Octobox?
No, not the Octobox. It wasn't 8. It's not 8 screens. It's 6. So
Oh.
what is it? The heck? I don't know my shapes. Is it the hectobox?
I think so. Just going back to kindergarten, I want to say stop signs or
Hectagons. The
hectagons.
hectobox.
Yes,
I believe
yes.
so.
Yeah.
I had the hectobox on, and it has ESPN, ESPN2. ESPN2 obviously plays what happens in the past on ESPN, the main channel.
Mhm.
Had Get Up on, and then First Take, top to bottom, and they were both playing the clip from New Heights at the exact same time, talking about T Swift and Travis Kelce. So I decided to hear what First Take had to say about it, and there was literally no follow-up question. Like Molly just straight up asked Stephen A, what you think about Taylor Swift on the podcast, and then he's just doing his classic Stephen A thing. Well, I like Jason Kelsey's a close personal friend. Obviously he's a co-worker and I really like him a lot. There's nothing to tell me that I shouldn't like him. Travis Kelce, sure, he had a down year, but I like him too. There's nothing to say I shouldn't like him. Taylor Swift, I like her music, and he's just going on trying to give it. What does this have to do with anything? Like, we had some really cool shit happen in sports over the last couple of weeks, really. And we're getting into football season, and you got to squeeze in a Taylor Swift segment. Yeah, it's a little much because there's not really much value to it. But I guess the value is viewership, right? Like,
of course,
there's something that they always see that we don't. We always ask, like, why do they keep doing this? Why do they keep doing this? Because they see a lot of viewership from it. They see a lot of engagement. And clearly this is getting them a lot of engagement.
Of course, it's metrics of it, but yeah, I'm with you where there's other topics to talk about, and it just seems like you're just rambling in circles because you just want to talk about Taylor Swift.
Yeah. There's really no substance to it. It's just like, what do you think of Taylor Swift going on Travis and Jason's podcast? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's get back to Mad Dog yelling about some Mets home run celebration that has nothing to do with him. Why don't we get to that?
I will say that rant was incredible by Mad Dog. While Steven leaves for some reason. Disagree. I'm in the Don LaGreca camp, the guy who can really like turn red on ESPN New York. He does the show with Rosenberg. Not familiar with Don LaGreca.
You're familiar with Don LaGreca, dude.
You think I know Don LaGreca? Let's see.
Yeah, he's the guy with the slick back gray hair.
His name does sound familiar. Okay,
he's known for
going.
These
Go ahead. What's your beef with Mad Dog on this?
Well, I'm actually, you know what? I'm gonna play it. I think.
I've seen this guy. Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, everyone's.
He looks like Michael McDonald.
Yes, he does.
Minute, bomb, minute.
He sounds the complete opposite of Michael McDonald, though.
Yeah.
But he was on with Rosenberg, and I think had some thoughts on just Mad Dog Russo calling out Gary Cohen, the Mets announcer.
Yeah.
The celebration and all that came along with it.
What's cool about this is now building towards the forever Mets. But my whole Ed Kranepool rant.
Yeah.
Never mind. That's not the right one. The hell? What are you posting that for? Whoa. I think Ray will.
What the hell are you looking at here?
I don't know, man. This is okay. Here we go. Oh, damn it. Okay, whatever. He just goes on a rant where basically said, like, your opinion doesn't count because you're not a Mets fan. You're a San Francisco Giants fan, and you just have to come in and ruin what is something that clearly Mets fans love. Like, that's why I don't want to rain on the parade with Taylor Swift, because there's obviously a large contingent of people who fucking love her, who idolize her, revere her. And if they're into it, so what? It's not my place to call people out for liking something or for celebrating something. And I totally agree with my man DLG, Don LaGreca, that Mad Dog was out of line.
No, he wasn't out of line. He was being his usual self, and he's from New York. And even though he's not a Mets fan, he does cover the Yankees and Mets pretty well. And yeah, he was right about everything with Pete Alonso not being of interest to the Mets before the season started. And then they bring him back. And yeah, their history as far as home runs is not that big. It's Darryl
Yeah.
Strawberry hitting like what, 250?
Yeah.
So I don't take his stuff seriously. Like it's comical. Like
For sure.
simultaneously, he's getting mad about this. He's like, "Can we play the audio? Can we play the audio? Can we play the audio?" Molly Karam's like, "Yeah, we're playing it. Calm down."
I do like him a lot.
Yeah.
Whenever he came on, I think he was my favorite guest to sign off. Him and rest in peace, John Clayton, the professor.
Of course.
'Cause Clayton, all business.
Yes.
You bring him on the radio, he's going to have answers for you. He's going to be thorough. He's going to be detailed. He's going to be succinct at the same time.
Mhm.
And then at the very end, before you can even sign him off, he just says, "Okay, thanks," and then just hangs up. And
I love that.
Russo does something similar, except you don't really know what he's saying. He's just talking in this like quick New York accent, and at the very end, he'll go,
Yeah.
and then he's just gone into the atmosphere doing mad dog things.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite back in the day when my dad and Bonte were doing the show was Michael Lombardi, who would hang up while he was still on the air. So he would literally would just go, "Thanks, Greg," and then my dad would be like, "That's Michael Lombardi." Okay, and he hung up. Yep. And the dial tone would come over the air. We're like, "Oh, that's a little too quick, Michael. A little too quick." Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. We've been rambling on about Taylor Swift and Chris Mad Dog Russo. Let's get to some things on the agenda as far as what we had planned tonight for the rundown. And Stephen put this in here. I didn't approve this whatsoever because I talk about this goddamn team all the time. You want to talk about the Giants season being over? Be my guest, sir. I've exhausted this enough. It's over. I don't care anymore.
That's what I needed. Just right there.
Just that.
I was more waiting to see your reaction to that.
I mean, I think you're over it too. Like last time we were talking, you were like, "Can't we just focus on the season? We got to go big picture." And I'm like, "Steven, what else is there to be big picture about?"
Well, yeah, but then that was before they went on like the worst 5-game stretches they've been on all season. You got to give me a little credit there.
Yeah, I mean, we did that on Sunday morning, and then they proceeded to lose 8-0, and then 5-1, and then it felt like 5-1 all over again. The scores could be off of those two games, but
yeah.
Yesterday, the 11-0 beatdown. I mean, that was just pitiful to give up 7 runs.
Hey, the Giants got 1 run on the board. All right.
Oh, sorry, totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
because it was a great ovation from the fans. Just be like, "Yeah, all right, 1 run." And you know what? I know Coops has gone, on about he basically wants Bob Melvin fired.
Yeah,
I can't say that because I just don't feel comfortable like really just saying those words. I think Bob Melvin should be fired. I don't know if he should be fired. I really don't. I think it's odd of the timing of the option being picked up on July 1st. I think that it's easy for Buster Posey in his first year as a front office executive to fire Bob Melvin. I think that's very easy for whenever a GM is in his first year, he can remove himself from a guy he didn't hire. I don't know. I think it's a mix of the players just really not being that good and Bob Melvin really not lighting a fire underneath them, not galvanizing the clubhouse right now. It's not the same as Gabe Kapler, obviously, because Kapler was not respected whatsoever by that team. You could hear it in some of the sound bites from Logan Webb and Brandon Crawford, but it was never as bad as this. And I'm surprised I'm saying this because in the 3 years that I've come back to the Bay Area, I worked at KNBR, this is by far the worst Giants baseball stretch I've seen. Yeah. I could be wrong. I could be hyperbolic and just living in the moment. Even though it was uninspired baseball and hard to watch, it was never this bad, unless I'm wrong about that, Stephen.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, especially with the expectations as high as they were. Look, man, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not going to let this change. I am not going to take anyone seriously who says Gabe Kapler could manage this baseball team better than Bob Melvin. I'm just not going to believe that.
That's insane.
If you think Bob Melvin's not the right man for the job, absolutely willing to hear that. Can't argue against that. But I think the thing with the Giants that is tough to evaluate is we do this thing where if the team sucks, we try to fix it. And a lot of people's fix feels like it starts with firing Bob Melvin. Then I ask, where do you go from there? Who do you want? Do you really think that that's going to solve things? Then what if the new manager stinks? What, do you just want to fire him halfway through the season next year? I'm seeing, I was talking with the morning show. I saw Shasky had an epic rant about how you just got to blow it up, how you just got to trade everybody, start from scratch. Well, not trade everybody. I'm mischaracterizing there, so that's my bad. But he whatever he means by blow it up, I don't know what that means. Really, I don't. Maybe keep around a couple of players, but for the most part, hit the reset button and try to build your farm system. I just don't think anyone knows how to fix it, including Buster Posey. And I think that's really where I'm kind of at a loss. I'm just kind of defeated. I don't think Buster Posey understands. I think Buster Posey truly felt that he built a winning baseball team in his first season. I mean, how could you not? You got 4 guys making hundreds of millions of dollars that are going to be here through 2030. It's like, okay, we got our core, but it feels like this core has been a large reason why they're losing this in the way that they are. And I'm sorry, man, like I get the Bob Melvin thing. I get it. And you know, he doesn't inspire much confidence. He's not very enthusiastic. And I get that people want a little more fire in their head coach, but I don't know, man. If you're a grown baseball player and you're an all-star and you don't know the infield fly rule, if you just don't get hits with runners in scoring position, if you are somehow going away from, I heard Kruko on I saw the clip from KMBR with Kruko, like if this team's not getting base hits, is that really on the manager? Like I go back to our interview with Tom too, where he says, I don't look at the manager so much or the coach. To me, it's about the players. And that's coming from a guy who obviously played in the NBA. Maybe we're comparing apples to oranges because we're cross-pollinating with sports. But I really think that it's been on the players for the most part. Like, sure, Melvin's had some questionable pitching changes, questionable lineups. Like, it's sad that you have Casey Schmidt and Dom Smith batting 3rd and 4th when you got other guys who are making as much money as they're making. Like it's sad, but I get the Melvin thing. I do, but I'm just looking at the players and their lack of production. I don't feel bad for them. Like, I just don't. You're making hundreds of millions of dollars and you're not able to get a base hit. I'm sorry. Like I don't know. Like I hearing the players just like Webb, I feel bad for Logan Webb. That's one who I feel bad for because he's been lights out all year, striking out guys like he's never struck out guys before. It feels like he gives them a chance to win every single time out. And even with that last start, I do look at Bob Melvin in that situation, wondering what the hell he was doing, leaving Webb out in that 7th inning. Like, what the hell was going on? Why are you doing that? So, yeah, man, I'm just again, when I joined KCVS, you know, I thought for the most part, like obviously I'll listen, but sports can be a nice escape from everything that's going on in the world because we do have to report the news and sports can be an escape for that. And that's actually what I've been told too. It's like, hey, you know, you can bring a little levity to some of these hours when things seem like they're at rock bottom. But right now when talking about the Giants, it's like the current events are what's bringing me some fucking like just calmness, you know. It's like, oh, all right, I don't have to talk about the Giants right now.
I know, and I feel bad when I hear like Willie Adames say like mentally this is the worst season of baseball he's ever had. And to your point with Logan Webb, you know, when it reminded me of Steph Curry when the Warriors lost at home to the Miami Heat, and Anthony Slater asked him, "How does this offense improve?" And he was like, "I don't know. I really don't know." And that's Steph basically being nice and saying, I don't think this roster is good enough. And then Logan Webb was asked a similar question by Susan Slusser, where she asked, how can you explain how inconsistent this team has been for the last 2 months? And Logan goes, I don't know. And he's being nice because he knows the offense sucks. And he's pitching these beautiful games, and he gets no run support. Same thing for Robbie Ray. Same thing really for Justin Verlander when you really look at it. So I don't think that Bob Melvin is a bad manager. I just don't know if he's a good fit for right now. This season was supposed to be where it's a stepping stone in the right direction. Whether you had big expectations or not, the expectations were there Steven, when they traded for Rafael Devers.
Sure.
Like they basically poo-pooed a loss to the Dodgers the day that they acquired Rafael Devers. And they thought things were changing. And they were, before that series, I think they were 1 game behind the Dodgers. And now take a picture of those standings all the way back then and look at it now, where the Padres are tied with the Dodgers. And when Buster Posey was introduced as president of baseball operations, he was hell-bent on, I don't want those teams beating out the Giants every season. And it happened again. I'm sure he's defeated. The whole team's defeated, obviously. But I'm sure he feels like, crap, I traded for Rafael Devers and I had to sell the trade deadline. And also, when you do that, what does it signal to the rest of the clubhouse? When you make those moves to trade away Tyler Rogers and Camilo Duvall, when your bullpen was so strong, I know that those guys were, mainly Tyler Rogers was pretty good. Camilo Duvall was iffy this season. But when you make those moves, it's basically saying, yeah, we're kind of waving the white flag on the season. And how is the team supposed to respond to that? They can be down for a little while, but then you need to come together. So it's a mix of the guys not living up to expectations. At the same time, it's Bob Melvin really not lighting a fire under this team. And I know that that's not his MO. He's not going to be Tommy Lasorda and flip a spread or a table or whatnot. But when he comes out and the media asks him, how do you change things? And he's like, we'll just come out to the ballpark tomorrow. I understand when fans get upset with the same old responses. I do. I'm not expecting Bob Melvin to be fiery and angry, but I also would expect more of a lively effort from the players than what's been going on. I think that's equal parts the players and also Bob Melvin.
The worst thing is it looks like they're okay with just collecting a check. Like, that might be harsh, but
yeah, I made that comment. I made that comment yesterday where I thought, did they really give up? And it's hard to say if they gave up. I never like to insinuate that, but I will say the first thought that came to my mind when watching that game yesterday, the Giants, was this. It kind of felt like when Brandon Staley was coaching the Chargers and they lost that game to the Raiders 63 to whatever it was, 21, and they fired Brandon Staley the next day.
Yeah.
If and I know it wasn't like that, obviously, but in a way it kind of felt like we're just going through the motions. I don't know how this team feels about Bob Melvin. I'm sure they respect him a hell of a lot more than they did Gabe Kapler, but goddamn. And I go back to the option being picked up and why it was done at that particular time. And Kerry Crowley made a great point on with the morning show saying it might have been something in Bob Melvin's contract where he had to have the option picked up by then. Otherwise, the contract was voided, which seems odd to me, but that maybe gives some reason of why that went down. But
like a random deadline?
Yeah, which I don't understand why it would be like that, because why would you do it in the middle of the baseball season? But that does, I guess, make sense because they did it when they were losing. They picked up his option when they were losing.
Right.
And yeah, now it's gotten worse. And I wonder how much stock Buster Posey's putting into the here and now as far as the coaching staff.
Yeah, man. It's funny. Like, I thought Posey had an extremely hard job ahead of him when he took this job because, I mean, you got to bring in this new era. But now I think it's as tough as he's going to deal with. And again, like, I don't think fans know how to fix it. I don't think there's much to look forward to from the farm system. Like, I mean, like, I don't know. Carson Seymour gets called up and he's just getting shelled every time he goes on the mound. Carson Wisenhunt gets called up and then he gets sent back. And Wisenhunt,
that was out of necessity, kind of.
Right. But still, like, it's just he looked okay in his couple of starts. But I'm just, again, like, I'm at a loss. I'm defeated, Derek. I'm defeated, and we're a month and a half away from the end of the season, and we're already calling it quits. Like, it's insane. And
yeah,
you have guys making, again, like, it's the money thing. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older, but God, they're just making so much money, and people have to pay like $30 for a crab sandwich, and that's just for the crab sandwich, and not even to mention the tickets, how much it costs just to park at a game. And you put out that type of performance on the field. Like, I'm sorry, but Adama is saying that he can't figure it out and it's been the toughest mentally. Like, figure it out, hit the ball. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you mean there's not much to mental? Like, I love Adames. I think he's great. I think he's a great person to have in your clubhouse, and I don't want him anywhere else, quite frankly. I think he's a plus defender, and I also think he has I think he actually has I don't want to say like a high ceiling, but I do think there's untapped potential that he still has yet to reach with the Giants, and I'm still holding out hope. But it's just like I can't figure it out. Like, just admit that you haven't been any good this season. I bet no one on the team's been good this season. That's really what you have to that's really what's there to figure out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But he clearly believes the talent's there. Like, that's another thing. Like, he told Susan Sluster that he clearly believes that they have the talent. So maybe that's like a realization that he has to come to, where it's like, well, maybe you don't, and maybe that's what's been the struggle mentally. I don't know. I'm being kind of hard on him because he's like the only one who spoke yesterday. Congrats to him for actually talking. There's a lot of guys who didn't talk to the media when they were losing at first, and now he has to be one of the spokesmen really for the team.
Yeah. No, I've said what I've said. Like, the season's over. Like, if you're looking for, like optimism, maybe you see Bryce Eldridge at the end of the season. But yeah,
even that, dude, I told you, I'm so nervous for that. Like,
I know.
I'm like, it's
I know,
like I'm watching a star quarterback, hoping that quarterback doesn't get hurt on the team that I'm watching,
Yeah. It's not good for the Giants. I never thought they would be this bad with the season, the way it was going, and the expectations at one point, and how close they were in the division. But
the crazy part is the Dodgers have been a worse team since the start of July. Like, in terms of record.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's the wild part. They're like not in the grand scope of things. They're not like the Rockies. They're not. They're not. I guess you could say even the A's, because the A's there's always highlights of the A's, but then you look at the record and they're still like 13 games below 500 with, no path to the playoffs, and then they trade their best players. So it's like they're not even at that stage. They're just 3 games under 500, and we're calling this the worst stretch of Giants baseball that we've pretty much seen since the pre-World Series days, which is wild. That's how poorly they've been playing.
Well, think of the milestones they're hitting. Like, they lost 13 of their last 14 at home, something they haven't done since 1940.
Yeah.
It feels like we've done that multiple times this season, where the Giants, they didn't score 5 or more runs for how many consecutive games. They haven't done that since 1960, whatever it is. Like, just going back to eras of baseball where it's like, good God. Yeah. I know that the Gabe Kapler era was, for the most part, pretty bad, minus the 107-win season. But it's never like what's going on right now with Bob Melvin. Never thought it would happen.
Yeah,
never thought it would happen. And anyone that's like Bob Melvin was a terrible choice to begin with, no. Like, Giants fans are having revisionist history on certain shit where it's like the Rafael Devers trade. You would always do that trade. I do not blame Buster Posey for making that move. Don't blame him for doing the moves at the trade deadline either. For Bob Melvin, for what was going on at the time with Gabe Kapler and how just ridiculous it was with him, and how everybody basically thought he was a joke, how he's playing grab ass with whatever pitcher was on the mound the day before he got fired, to the way it is now. I mean, like with Bob Melvin, he was with the Padres, and he was, sought after coach, and we knew him with the A's. No one made a bad choice with Bob Melvin. Sorry, go ahead.
The Padres thing, like, I'm not saying it wasn't all on Bob Melvin, but you're not looking hard enough at AJ Preller. AJ Preller had ruined that relationship.
Oh yeah.
If I still remember that investigative piece from The Athletic that people clearly didn't read whenever they want to blame Bob Melvin for all the Padres woes. AJ Preller, as aggressive as he is, he's also super micromanager. And at least he was when Bob Melvin was around. And maybe he felt the need for that when Bob Melvin was there. I don't know. But something didn't click with them. And that's why they didn't win. And again, with the Padres, I'm tired of saying this is what the Padres are doing this season. And it's like, look, man, in the end, the Padres are probably going to lose in the playoffs because that's just how it always goes with the Padres. They're the Padres. Sorry. It's just how it goes. They're one of those teams. Yeah, I don't have any actual evaluation or analysis for that, Derek. It's just going to happen. I'm telling you. It's like the Cowboys.
Fair enough. All right, we talked enough Giants. I do that on my day job way too much.
Man, on the other side, you got the final call of the Giants where it's like Dwayne Kuiper's like, oh, they lost 13 of their last 14 at home, and now they get a day off and welcome the Rays to Oracle Park. All right, we go to Laura Britton and Sergio Romo in the MB Sportsman area post-game booth.
Yeah.
You have that. And then on the other side, you got the best team in baseball in the Milwaukee Brewers saying, and the Brewers have done it. 12 straight wins, free burgers for everyone. You see that?
No.
Yeah, there's like a tradition in Milwaukee with some burger chain called George Webb. It's like a counter style restaurant. Think of it like a Denny's, but just like based in Wisconsin. It's been there since the 40s. And I guess like the owner was like a big baseball fan. And he predicted that their team at that time would go on a 17-game win streak. And if they did, he would give away free burgers. Put that win streak down to 12. I don't know why he reduced that number. I guess 17 was a little too far-fetched. But they've been running that promotion since the 40s. And it's the third time that they've hit the 12-game win streak. So everyone in the state of Wisconsin gets a free burger from this one place.
Tasty.
Yeah,
Good deal.
love it.
Nice.
Love it.
All right, let's move on to some football. And not really like on the field stuff because we pretty much reacted to everything from preseason over the weekend. I guess there's some stuff with the Raiders and 49ers with the joint practices today, but not a lot that came out of it. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know I know you're on a roll here and we're getting into football. Can I just like come out flat out here from Ernie too? He's asking, can you guys talk the Otani Hawaii scandal?
Sure.
I really don't know anything about it. Like I know that some real estate person is suing him for hundreds of millions of dollars because of something that happened with his agent. I don't really know much about it, to be honest. I wish I could talk about it, but I can't talk about it with much certainty. Like, I don't know.
I'd say let's save that one for Sunday because there's a lot of details in that one, and it's not as crazy as the gambling scandal. It just makes Otani look bad. So, I don't know, you might see him as a potential jackass of the week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so I really don't know enough about it to talk about it. So
okay.
I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah. I mean, I know like some of the details, but we could go more in depth with it. Okay. As far as what's going on in the NFL, and this is, something that we've talked about on this podcast since the inception probably, is Jon Gruden and his time with the Raiders and his time being fired by the Raiders with his emails. And we knew that he had a lawsuit against the league, and he's always said that he was unjustly outed for his emails, that they were uncovered for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And in recent years, we've got
orchestrated in some other word, malicious attack to destroy his career.
Yes. And we pretty much now have figured out that, I guess, Dan Snyder, to get the heat off of himself, pretty much told the NFL, I can give you these emails that Bruce Allen and Jon Gruden had, and that led to Jon Gruden's downfall. And he's, had to come back. He's on Barstool. He's making us laugh, but he really wants to coach again. And we're one step into another. We're getting closer to that actually happening again for Jon Gruden, because he did win his appeal. Jon Gruden won his appeal against the NFL. And now Gruden will get discovery. I had to look that up as far as what that means in court terms, legal terms. So basically, I guess he gets the chance to display evidence. And he'll get his day in court, alleging that Commissioner Roger Goodell in the NFL improperly leaked his emails, leading to his firing as Raiders head coach. So just, not have to spend too much time on this, but just your quick reaction to this. And do you think this leads to Gruden eventually coaching once again?
Well, the lawsuit, it was the NFL that appealed it, right?
No, it was Gruden.
I thought Gruden filed the lawsuit, the NFL appealed it, and the Supreme Court blocked that appeal so that the lawsuit can continue.
I may be wrong on that one. Regardless, the ruling is in favor of Gruden.
Like the NFL also appealed that ruling, which is wild to me. So look, here's how it's going to end. Okay. The lawsuit's going to move forward. The NFL is going to settle. It's just how it always goes. You're going to see a settlement. He's seeking the monetary damages. Once money is involved and he gets paid millions of dollars, he'll probably be fine with it, but he absolutely does want to get back into coaching. I mean, I just went to look at one of his most recent videos, and he's got a bunch of stuff on YouTube now. Got a 2-hour preview about the NFC South. not going to watch a full 2 hours, 20 minutes on an NFC.
God, and I thought
preview.
our previews were a little too long.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got a lot of stuff that he has to get through. I'm not going to watch that. But there was a recent video where he visited the Jaguars facility for training camp and Georgia's facility, and there's no question that these the coaches and players they don't care about the emails. They don't care. Like players are excited to see him. They are looking at him as a star. Though the thing is, like, I still like just because time has passed, like he still sent those emails, and those were some pretty damning things that he said. And really, like, I don't think there's like a good guy or a bad guy in this situation. I just think the NFL is terrible for letting these emails leak. And basically, I do agree that he got the short end of the stick, but he also still sent those emails and said those things about the commissioner and about the executive director of the Players Association. So I really think he's going to get back into it. I do. And I also think he's really winning people over with his gift of gab, because people love hearing him talk about football. If you hear him talk, you automatically think that he's going to be a good coach when he returns. I say use caution with that.
I mean, I do value Gruden as a coach. I do think that he's a great mind when it comes to the NFL, and I do love his quarterback breakdowns. And maybe things got a little screwy with him as head coach, but we talked about it when the emails came out. It was wrong for him to do that, and I think that it was not more stupid, but probably equally stupid of him to do that from his work email. I'm not condoning him doing anything as far as what he said, but just like, dude, you're doing Jon Gruden at ESPN.com. Like, that's bound to get, leaked.
I just don't consider anyone a victim in this situation. Like, except for the words that he chose.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like even Roger Goodell, like, do I feel bad that he said those things about Roger Goodell? Not really. It's more about what he said about DeMaurice Smith.
It was more about DeMaurice Smith. And it was more about what he said about women and gay people. Like, it was terrible. It was not good what Jon Gruden did. But I think enough time has passed, and I do think that he should at one point acknowledge what he did. Like, every time that he's asked about it, I think it was recently on the Dan Patrick show where he was like, yeah, Dan, that was a long time ago, not talking about that. Yeah, but you should one day. You should, John. Like, believe me, I love you. I do. I no matter what's gone on in the past, I do love the man. He is just that ridiculous, and I do value his opinion about football. He's insane, but I crack up every time he, really gets into football, and he's a funny guy. I do love Jon Gruden, but I cannot condone anything he did as far as the emails. Now, was it shady the way it went down? Absolutely. Should he win this lawsuit? Yes, he probably should. This was wrongfully done to him. I at the same time, wrongfully done, but also the wrongdoing was also the emails in the first place. So it's so convoluted.
Yeah.
And this is the world we live in now, where something comes out about people we like, and you got to judge them, but also can you still learn to appreciate the people that they are? I don't know. Bottom line is, as far as Jon Gruden, he'll win this settlement, and he'll go forward in his NFL, or not an NFL career, but just his football talking career. I think eventually he will become a college football head coach again. Or not even again, just he'll become a college head coach, because I don't think the NFL will want to do business with him, despite how entertaining he is and how really good he is at building up young quarterbacks. Maybe more so on the show, but not like with the Buccaneers. That was bad when he was trying to get with Chris Sims and everybody there. But bottom line is, I think Gruden will come away benefiting from this as far as financially. But
he's going to be coaching in the SEC, man.
Yeah, it will definitely be the SEC. I don't think people will really care that much about the emails in the past. And
just go watch that Georgia video. He walks in with his opaque glasses, shirt tucked in, gut hanging out, and he's just ready to talk some football. But before I want to talk about football, you know why I'm here, right? I want to fucking coach again. I fucking love it. I'm not bullshitting. I don't bullshit. I want to coach in the SEC, man. Like, he literally told all the players that, and then gets into this whole, and clap for me 3 times if you're with me, and just all these things. So he definitely gets guys with the rah-rah stuff. I don't know. I'm again, like, I know the NFL is the almighty monopoly and you want to do anything you can to go against the NFL with all their shady shit that they do. But yeah, Gruden, like, I just don't think Gruden is, just because he did get screwed over. He did it. Yeah. It doesn't take away what he said in those emails. And to everyone in the YouTube's comments, I like to read them. This is a new year, Derek, and the New Year's resolution is broken in 2024, where I've told you I'm not going to look at the replies. I still look at the replies all the time.
Well, we should for our YouTube audience, the opiners.
Well, I mean, I look at the comments here, but like, there's none in our actual YouTube channel.
Oh, the channel? Well, yeah.
Yeah, you actually have to get comments if you want to read comments. We don't really get those. We get these live things here, which is fine. No. But I'd love to get a gauge on how many people actually read the details of what he had said in the past. Again, I do think he's going to get a second chance at a job somewhere, but it's yeah, man. I just you read those emails again, you're like, ooh.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh, that's not good.
It's bad. It's bad what he wrote in the emails, no doubt. I also am not naive. Don't think he's the only coach talking like that.
No,
I think there's some guys go about it a smarter way, where they're not going to have their text messages or personal messages bite him in the ass.
Right.
So, yeah. That bottom line with Jon Gruden, we've talked about this thing for so long now. I do love Jon. You know, if he gets an opportunity to coach again in the SEC, college football, I'm all for it. I don't think he'll get an opportunity again in the NFL, just based on the lawsuits and the PR hit that he had for the league for a while. But yeah, the emails can't condone it.
What do you think about Florida? Think he's going to be a Florida Gator? Maybe there?
I've heard he's tied to them. Yeah, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. Jon Gruden is a charismatic personality, so he's perfect for college football. And college football, let's be honest, is cool with turning the other cheek sometimes when it comes to kind of shady characters.
Yeah, the only thing college is doing is making sure that they're not paying any athletes for their name, image, and likeness. I don't know if you've seen what's happening with the lawsuits. I think it was Mario Chalmers who, after that settlement where they were going to give back pay to their student athletes from like 2016 on for the money that they might deserve. Well, like Mario Chalmers filed a lawsuit. The 1983 NC State team that won with Jim Valvano, a bunch of those players filed a lawsuit because they constantly use their clips to promote March Madness and they don't get a dime for it. And the NCAA basically just got both those lawsuits dismissed. Finito, the end. No chance that you guys are getting any of this money. We just came up with a $2.8 billion settlement. We're not going to give you anything. It's like, damn, brutal.
Yeah, that's college sports for you, man. All right, let's move on a little bit to the Raiders and 49ers. We'll see them play on Saturday in this preseason game. They had a joint practice today. Apparently, Brock Purdy is going to play in this game, which I'm like, I said this a year ago, too, when they played against the Saints, and they didn't have Trent Williams out there at left tackle, and I doubt he'll be there on Saturday. And Andre Dillard is out for the season. He just got activated off a PUP on Monday, but it's clear that his knee is just not reacting well, and I'm sure his career is probably over at this point. But the hope was he was going to be a swing tackle to basically, help out Trent Williams, see if he was going to go down, or he can move him at, tackle or guard, whatever. And I'm sure that's an upgrade over Spencer Burford because he looked brutal in that preseason game against Nick Bonito. And if Brock Purdy goes out there, I'm not saying Maxx Crosby's playing in this game, but if Brock Purdy goes out there and Spencer Burford blocking for him, I don't love that. And I didn't understand it a year ago, and I don't understand it now. So hopefully Kyle puts Brock in a position where he doesn't get hurt. But when I saw that today, that Brock could play in this game, there's other players I want to see for the 49ers in the preseason. I want to see Ricky Pearsall play a little bit just because I want to see him acclimated for the regular season. I know the injuries are going on right now, but if CJ West can get over that hyperextended knee, same thing with Michael Williams, Alfred Collins, basically like all these rookies that need to do something once the regular season starts, they need to play in the preseason as well.
Right.
I don't think that Brock Purdy really needs to play in the preseason anymore at this point.
I mean, they're going to play him for a drive.
I know, but do you remember a year ago? Like we were talking about this, and Chase Young knocked him on his ass, and I was like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. I mean, no, I can't really argue against playing your starting quarterback when it feels like the season hinges upon not just him, really the health of your entire team, considering you were like the most hurt team in the league last year. But really the quarterback was healthy for most of the time. I don't know, man. I guess I'm with you, but I'm also like not too passionate about it. I mean, I get it. I don't know. Like when Pete Carroll, was like, I didn't really have much to go off of with the 49ers as far as who they were going to play in the preseason. Like Shanahan didn't really have like a reason why he didn't want to play the starters. He just kind of said, I'm not playing the starters against the Broncos. But when Pete Carroll played them against the Seahawks, he said he just wanted them to get used to preparing as if it's a game situation. So he wanted them to suit up with pads and, go out there in the pregame, warm up, and then just go out there for a drive. And then that's it. So I think there's a little bit of value in that, but is that worth the quarterback potentially getting injured? No, it's not. It's a risk. And Carroll has a brand new team. So, I mean, his reasoning makes more sense. You don't have that with the 49ers. You got a guy who's probably used to it by now. So yeah, I guess I'm with you. I didn't really think about it. I just, while he was playing, I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens come Saturday. Like, we'll see how long he comes in for. I'm with you. I think it's a series, but all it takes is just one play, and then your season's changed. So that's all I'm thinking about when it comes to this Saturday's game. And then you'll see the development of the Raiders, and then you'll see who plays for the 49ers. As far as
the one on the Raiders that I'm looking I'm kind of getting ahead here, but the one on the Raiders that I'm going to be looking at is Jamal Adams. I think he still has like a little vendetta against the 49ers, and I'd be interested to see him just go way too hard in a preseason game. Just flying all over the field at linebacker.
They traded for Jamal Adams, the Seahawks did back in the day, so he could cover George Kittle. He never won that matchup. George Kittle always ate him alive.
Yeah, always. But Kittle's probably not playing in this game.
No,
right?
Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle are not going to play in this game. Neither is Trent Williams. Neither is Nick Bosa, is dealing with elbow soreness. So you're not going to see a lot from the 49ers. And I wonder what really they benefited from this joint practice, because Alfred Collins, I'm sure, he practiced today. Nick Martin practiced. Still nothing from Upton Stout, I believe. Like I mentioned, CJ West, hyperextended knee. Still dealing with Michael Williams and his hyperextended knee. So that's the one thing where all these rookies, they're not getting opportunities right now. And then they're going to be that much behind the eight ball once the regular season starts. So you're counting on all these rookies this season. And that's where Kyle Shanahan was talking about it on Sirius XM radio. I heard the clip where his expectations are pretty reasonable, where he kind of relates it back to when he was first starting out as head coach of the team in 2017 and 2018, where, it was growing pains. They basically were an expansion team. They started off with a bunch of rookies. Brian Hoyer was the quarterback, and then slowly they added guys. Then they became something. This year it's a mix where you're going to have guys you respect and trust in Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and everybody else on offense. And then defense, Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and Diamador Lenore. But the rest are huge question marks. So I'm glad that he even acknowledged, like, this season is not necessarily, we're not going for a Super Bowl. Let's get to the playoffs and see what happens after that. So I respect Kyle for saying that.
I didn't even see any of Kyle's comments after today. To be honest, I don't even know where to go with that. Like, yeah. Dude. Like, it sucks that the rookies aren't playing. Yeah, that's for sure. When it feels like they were behind already. Like, that's the thing with Niners camp. It's like, it feels like injuries have been such a big part of it. It's hard to truly look at it and not think, God, is that going to impact the season? Like,
yeah,
it's not, you watch, I don't know, say Hard Knocks with the Bills. And you kind of already know that the drama with James Cook is going to turn into him practicing. And you did have one injury, obviously, in the first episode of the season, but you don't have just injury after injury where guys are out for a significant amount of time. Here's my question. I think, when was it? I forgot when, but with Jawan Jennings and this contract thing, is this becoming like a situation where fans are actually calling for him to get traded?
Jawan Jennings?
After that Kawakami article where he said they're far apart on negotiations, and it seems like they have, I don't know, I mean, if you want to use the cut down day as the official deadline for when they need to get a deal done, or I don't know, whatever happens with his injury, maybe put him on PUP or something. I don't know. Like, are people calling for that? Because I've heard that.
Not that I've seen, and I don't think the Niners are in a position to trade away Jawan Jennings. Their receiving core is depleted right now.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to roll with Jacob Cowling probably as their third wide receiver week 1 against the Seahawks. And I don't feel good about that at all. With the injury to Jordan Watkins now, where he's got a high ankle sprain out for a month, I would have preferred him over Jacob Cowling. Like, I highly doubt they'll sign Amari Cooper or Gabe Davis because Demarcus Robinson, will probably come back that quickly from a suspension, maybe 3 games. Then again, you see what happened with Rashee Rice today, where his day in courts won't be until September 30th.
Yeah.
That's fucking shady as hell. Why does he get that benefit? The Chiefs are able to start their season with Rashee Rice healthy somehow off of a torn ACL, and he gets to play, and then maybe he'll get suspended later on in the season. How is that fair?
I know. It's insane. It's insane, especially since because of the whole Robinson thing. You're right.
Yeah. So I do not see anything happen with Jawan Jennings. I respect Tim Kawakami's reporting, but I would say the same thing applies to Micah Parsons and Terry McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson, where everybody's far apart in negotiations. But then push comes to shove, there's a deadline, then a deal gets done. So,
yeah, dude. You mentioned this name briefly, but listen, Vic Tafur, he has a way of building up players, right? He does. He knows how to do it. Like, he had me thinking Zamir White was in for a career year last year with the Raiders, right? He just had this feature on him.
Yeah.
Just the way that he was talking, the way that he's been working out and all these things. And then you see what happened. If I'm reading what's true about Christian McCaffrey in that he's looking just great, like back to 100%, like just something, I'm trying to bring up something positive. And let's just say he does come back. Like, we're looking at one of the greatest comebacks from an injury. I don't want to say in NFL history because there's probably been a lot of them, but in this era, like, we're talking a comeback of Adrian Peterson coming back in 2012 from a torn ACL, then winning the MVP. We're seeing that level where it's like, my God, if he actually has a good season, because that's been the one thing for me where I'm looking at the Niners this year and I'm thinking, like, what if Christian McCaffrey's not who he used to be? Like, he was such a big part of that 2023 team. Obviously, you had Brock Purdy spreading the ball around, you had receivers hitting 1,000 yards, and you had McCaffrey doing that too. And the only thing that was making me hesitant at wanting to think that the Niners were going to make a comeback was McCaffrey. And is he going to look the same, especially with all the injuries to the running backs? But if he looks as good as as they say he looks, and he gets back to that form in 2023 when he's, rushing for 1,400 yards and easily leading all running backs in total touchdowns, like, that comeback, you'd have to put it in the context of NFL history. It's wild if he's able to do that.
I don't know about that one, man. I think that comparing it to Adrian Peterson, putting it in that context, Adrian Peterson tore his ACL week 16 of the NFL season. Didn't miss a game, came back and rushed for 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see anything ever like that again.
Yeah.
Yes, Christian McCaffrey went through a lot last season, but it wasn't like Adrian Peterson tearing his Achilles. I do think that if Christian McCaffrey comes back and has a solid season, then yeah, he's up for comeback player of the year. But I don't know if you'll put it in the same category as an Adrian Peterson.
No, I guess not. Maybe I'm being too hyperbolic with that.
And also, I'm very skeptical of that. I don't know if we'll see Christian McCaffrey like we saw him in 2023. And I think that the Niners have to be very conscious about that, where he's in that stage of his career now. He's what, 28, 29, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's when running backs break down. And we saw him overused with the Carolina Panthers back in the day. I think that Kyle Shanahan really has to be careful in how he uses him. And maybe you do see a little more, not that, he'll still get a bulk of the carries, but a little bit more of Isaac Orendo, a little bit more of Jordan James, where they need to protect Christian McCaffrey from himself, because that was a big issue last year with the Achilles tendonitis. He came back and he was ready to go. He wasn't going to be told you're coming off the field, and that led to more injuries. I think they need to be a little more careful with him.
Whew. Like, that's going to be one this year where you're thinking like their success. I mean, it's on the quarterback, but they got to be able to run the football. Like, you got to wonder like what a Kyle Shanahan team would look like if they don't run the football effectively. And you kind of saw it last year, and they only got 6 wins out of it. So This is, it's going to be fascinating to keep an eye on him this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I wanted to bring up this debate because I brought it up on Dirty Work today with Cokes. And I think it's a good topic for right now because, the Raiders and Niners are playing each other, and I think both of these players are comparable. But at one point, you and I were having this debate years ago, and I was like, there's no way in hell that Maxx Crosby is on the same level as Nick Bosa. And I even poo-pooed it when you brought up Khalil Mack. And I still don't think that Maxx Crosby has ever been close to what Khalil Mack was. A different type of player. But I can say today, in 2025, that right now, Maxx Crosby, to me, is slightly a better pass rusher and all-around better defender than Nick Bosa, just based on his productivity the last few seasons. Since Nick Bosa got that contract, he's had a total of 19 sacks. And that's, coming off of a Defensive Player of the Year season where he had 18 and a half. And injuries have played a factor, and just Nick Bosa's declined a little bit. I'm not saying he's still not a great. I'm not saying he's not a great player anymore. He's still a pretty good player, but I think that the way people talk about Maxx Crosby and his ability to stop the run, like I brought it up today. Do you remember Christian McCaffrey's first game with the Niners? The Chiefs with Isaiah Pacheco were running right at Nick Bosa. The Chiefs wouldn't dare do that against Maxx Crosby. Maxx Crosby's that much better of a run defender.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Keep going. Nope, sorry. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying that I think that Maxx Crosby is definitely caught up to Nick Bosa and maybe even surpassed him as far as being a pass rusher, just all around great defender. I think that the way that Maxx Crosby has, he's gotten votes for Defensive Player of the Year when you never win that award if your team sucks, and he's been on some shitty Raider teams, where Nick Bosa in the past has been around, a lot more talent on that side of the football. So I think that from where he was drafted and what he's accomplished, you would say that probably Maxx Crosby has the more impressive career for what he's done. But at the same time, Nick Bosa is so physically gifted, and he's that good of a player that I wouldn't doubt that he could get back to that level again and be a top 5 pass rusher in all of football. I do think that it's going to fall on Nick Bosa's shoulders this season if that defensive unit's going to be good, because you're relying on, Bryce Huff and Mykel Williams, C.J. West, Alfred Collins, a bunch of unknowns on the defensive line. And Nick Bosa needs to be the guy that everyone's confident in. So I do believe that he's able of being that guy that we saw in 2022. But right now, if we're just comparing Raiders to 49ers, I do think that Maxx Crosby's a little bit better than Nick Bosa.
I don't think he's a bit better. I think he's a lot better
than
Bosa. But you mentioned the career resume. In total numbers, Maxx Crosby has, I believe, more tackles. He doesn't have as many sacks leading up to this point in his career, but he has 100 more tackles combined, over 105 more tackles. I think Crosby is more dynamic. You see Nick Bosa, sure, he's lining up on both ends of the ball, but you see Crosby lining up over center. You see him kind of going inside too. You're seeing him play all these different positions. I think he's a little more versatile.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at like career accomplishments, I got to give that to Bosa. Like, At the end of the day, Bosa won Defensive Player of the Year, and he's been on a team that has been a constant in the playoffs. Like Crosby hasn't had that. He hasn't had the chance to be with a really good defense. And I just think, based on that alone, the fact that you made, excuse me, 2 Super Bowl appearances and you've also won Defensive Player of the Year, like I just think you got to give that to Bosa. And I don't know if I think Crosby is going to be more consistent for a longer time. And again, I'd take him over Bosa in a heartbeat. But Crosby hasn't had a season like Bosa had in 2020 and 2022, and he hasn't done what Bosa's been able to do in the playoffs, which is be the best defender on a team that's gone to a Super Bowl. So I don't know. I get what you're saying. It's a very interesting conversation. But if you're telling me like who's been a more accomplished player in his career, Crosby has the numbers, but I think Bosa has the results.
That's fair. I'm saying it more as far as where Maxx Crosby was when he was drafted and the teams that he's played for. I think that Maxx Crosby's accomplished
Crosby's gotten better year after year after year, and it feels like Nick Bosa's kind of declined since that Defensive Player of the Year season.
Or stayed stagnant. I would say that Crosby's done more with less. That's why it's a little more impressive to me.
Yeah.
Just because Nick Bosa was taken 2nd overall. Crosby was drafted, in the 4th round?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's never really had that much talent. He's had talent, but it's not the same where Crosby elevates that defense. And so does Nick Bosa, but Maxx Crosby's not playing with the likes of Fred Warner and those guys that Nick Bosa's been playing with.
Right.
So
you're if you're looking at the defense, it doesn't feel like you're game planning for Bosa, but it feels like Fred Warner's the number one guy that you got to pay attention to and you got to game plan around. It sucks having to play against Nick Bosa. There's no doubt about it. Like your offensive lineman, whoever's going to line up against him is in for a rough afternoon, but it feels like your entire offense is in for a rough afternoon with Fred Warner at the helm. So like Nick Bosa used to be the guy, like he used to, but it's not really the case anymore. And I think Crosby, it's been made known from that Dolphins Hard Knocks that Crosby is the guy that they focus on the Raiders defense. So, and I mean, Bosa deals with they deal with double teams at the same rate. It's actually pretty crazy. I believe they've had, I think, who has more pressures? I think Bosa has a few more pressures and he's gotten to the quarterback more, but as an overall like defender, I got to give it to Crosby. And I think there's no question. I think you'd find if you took a survey of 100 people and you asked them that question, I think probably like 80, 85 would take Crosby. I think it would be a landslide. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen in recent years, like we haven't got into the top 10 of the top 100 for this season, but last year, Maxx Crosby was a top 10 defender, and Nick Bosa has, gone down in that list. And
he was 57 this year, and Crosby hasn't been selected yet.
Well, there you go. And yeah, I would say that, yes, Nick Bosa has had the more impressive career because of the accolades of going to the Super Bowl twice and getting Defensive Player of the Year with 18 and a half sacks. Maxx Crosby, I think his most sacks in a season is 14. I think it's just his game overall and how much of an impact he has. Like, when the Raiders play whoever, like when the Chiefs play the Raiders, they're all about Maxx Crosby. They're finding ways to make sure that the offensive line, protects Mahomes. So, they don't have that moment where Max is yelling in Mahomes' face. The Chiefs are able to game plan against Nick Bosa. So, yeah, definitely Bosa's game has declined a little bit and Maxx Crosby's elevated, but I think both guys are comparable. It'd be very interesting to see what happens this season where basically Nick Bosa needs to be that leader on defense. I'm not talking about vocal leader, just his play needs to rise to the level of Defensive Player of the Year again.
Yeah, and it seems he's taken that leadership role by all accounts. Can I be like, I'm being honest, and I can't give you I can't show like a video of it or anything.
Okay.
But I've been doing this thing this year where I've been trying to get Nick Bosa's walk down, his walk at training camp, like that really slow thing he does when he's He's just got done with a rep, and he's walking back, and he's kind of just slowly, shoulders moving, kind of boat-legged a little bit with both feet inward. I kind of walk around my kitchen like that. I've been walking more like Nick Bosa at training camp, just around my apartment. Makes me feel, I don't know, for lack of a better, like a bear. Makes me feel like a bear Bosa. Bosa bear.
Are you trying to, I mean, what's the goal of that? You trying to emulate Nick Bosa in his walk, or are you just trying it out in your kitchen?
Just trying it out in the kitchen. I'm not like trying to go out in public and do this walk. I'm very self-conscious of my walk in public, but I like to walk around the kitchen like I'm just like some big shot. Because when Nick Bosa is walking around, like Nick Bosa knows that he looks like he's chiseled out of granite and that he's probably the strongest dude on the field, and he walks like he knows it. And I'm not that guy. So it's nice to feel like that guy when I'm on my own in my kitchen.
What is Jesse's reaction when you're walking around like a big shot in your kitchen?
She doesn't even notice.
Okay.
She don't notice.
Are you trying to get like a rise out of her, or she's like, look at this big shot in my kitchen right now. I'm about to make him a nice meal.
No, I mostly do it on my own. Mostly do it on my own. I just, pace up and down with the nice Bosa walk.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're practicing that, Steven.
Dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, I'd say so. All right. Let's do our Just Your Divisions, man. And let's do a very interesting division this season, as it is for the last, as it's been for the last, I don't know, how many years now has the AFC North been interesting? Quite some time now. So let's go through the AFC North. Let's go through these teams with the Baltimore Ravens and the Cincinnati Bengals, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. And let's start with the Baltimore Ravens, the team that won the division a year ago, and go through their additions. They obviously got Jair Alexander, I think during June when he was cut by the Green Bay Packers. Not a lot of huge moves. They got DeAndre Hopkins. They drafted Malachi Starks from Georgia. They drafted Mike Green, kind of a controversial pass rusher. But my biggest concern with them is the way it's been for the last few seasons now is they're one of the better teams in all of the AFC. They're right there with the Bills. They're right there with the Chiefs. It's just a matter of, can they beat the Chiefs in the postseason? Like Lamar Jackson can win all the MVPs. He already has 2 at this point. Derrick Henry makes them that much of a good team, or a better team, I should say. And their defense is always on point, even though they never get like these traditional pass rushers. They get like 15 sacks a season. They're just a well-coached team. But can they overcome really both the Bills, because they've had their success against them in the regular season, but I think Lamar Jackson's 0-2 against Josh Allen. And really, they could have tied that game up had Mark Andrews caught that 2-point conversion. But really, the main thing is, same thing with the Buffalo Bills. The Ravens are always going to be competitive as long as they have Lamar. The same thing with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. It's just the same thing. Can they really beat the Chiefs in the AFC when it's all said and done?
I love Lamar. I have really grown to love him. I've always loved him as a player, but I've really grown to love him as just the person. And maybe love is a little strong, and he'd be like, who the hell is this random dude on a podcast saying he loves me? But this guy, I am just infatuated every time he speaks to the media. I'm big on that. Even as you mentioned, going back to the Mark Andrews thing and his reaction to that, Lamar knew he did everything that he could to win that game. And the way that he handled that with just such humility and leadership, I was not everyone would do that. Not every quarterback would do that. You've seen how freaking Patrick Mahomes reacts sometimes when his team doesn't do something. He kind of lashes out. Lamar didn't do that. And if you watch he was obviously in the middle of that little Players Association lawsuit with the guaranteed money, and he testified and all that. And when he was asked about it, he squints his eyes and he's like, see that over there? Stanchions, see that? That's all I care about. I don't care about what you're talking about. That's in the past. I'm focused on here, right here, all of this. And then he gives the reporter a wink. He goes, "Yeah." And then and he's just he is a breath of fresh air when it comes to those things. And I am really except for like maybe when they play I'm really rooting for the Ravens this year. I do want Lamar to win one, like badly. I do. And I think they have a solid chance this year. I hope it's going to be him and Josh Allen for the AFC Championship. I think it's such a fun rivalry. Obviously, you'd want the Raiders to be in there, but you got to be realistic. They're probably not going to get to that point. And the Ravens have all the tools, man. They really do. And like you said, they're just one catch away from potentially turning around the entire fortune of their franchise. So, I mean, what more can you say, dude? Like they got the players, they got the talent. Seems they got the coaching. I mean, they're probably going to be an over 10-win team again this season, probably going to be first place in the division. What more could you want? Like, this is a team that could win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they should. I mean, they're definitely in contention for it. Like I said, it's the same thing with the Buffalo Bills. It's just, can you overcome the Chiefs in the AFC? And I would love to see an AFC Championship game with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and just move on from Mahomes. But at the same time, I kind of want to see, can the Ravens slay the Chiefs? Can the Buffalo Bills do that as well? And I hear a lot of people say like they have the most talent of any team in the AFC. Maybe. As far as like Lamar, yeah, he's, right now, top 3, top 4 quarterback. Derrick Henry, top 3 running back in all of football. Their defense is great. Wide receiving core, like Zay Flowers. A big reason why they didn't go further in the postseason was Zay Flowers' injury. So, yeah, it's all there on paper. It's just, can they actually do it? Can Lamar Jackson make better throws in the postseason than throwing into triple coverage in the red zone, throwing an interception, a terrible interception to the Chiefs? Can Zay Flowers avoid being, stripped of the ball out the 1-yard line when he's about to score a touchdown, just making dumb mistakes over and over and over again? That's what it seems like the Ravens do in these postseason games. So that's just the bottom line. Can they overcome all that stuff to finally get to a Super Bowl?
And one of these playoff games that they're in, that they will inevitably get to, will it come down to where their kicker has to make a field goal? And will it come down to Tyler Loop?
And he's impressing people in training camp for what I've seen. He's got a strong leg.
That's great. That's fantastic. Training camp is not the playoffs.
No, I know, dude. I know. That, like, the same thing that fans were bitching about with Jake Moody will apply to the Ravens. But let's be real, too. Justin Tucker was missing a shit ton of kicks before all this stuff came out. So eventually they were probably going to move on anyway.
No doubt. No question that he was in a downward spiral, I guess, both in his personal life and his professional life.
Yeah, apparently. All right.
But the Ravens, man, God, I'm cringing thinking about it. I didn't even come to mind till now.
Yeah.
Tyler Loop. Oh,
that's not even like one of the things I was thinking about, but yeah, that will be a factor. But then again, it was kind of the same deal when they won the Super Bowl. They were coming off a Super Bowl win, and they changed. I want to say it was Justin Tucker was drafted after that. They went from Billy Cundiff to Justin Tucker. I mean, it was that first year they won the Super Bowl, and things were fine. And Justin Tucker's one of the more accomplished kickers in all of football. I don't know about Hall of Famer. Maybe I don't know right now, but yeah.
Yeah, this is the appropriate time to have Justin Tucker Hall of Fame talk.
What I'm saying, though, is they drafted a kicker and he became an accomplished kicker and the best kicker in their franchise's history. Yeah. I think that people get so hung up on a rookie kicker. We can't mess around with that. Happens all the time. And I think that I'm letting it back basically to Jake Moody, where I think people are just too up in arms about that shit. All right, moving on here for just your divisions, man, in the AFC North. Let's go to the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes.
The Bengals, they didn't do a ton this offseason as far as adding players, but they did something they usually don't do, is paying their players. Paying their players, God. Sorry. Can't speak tonight. Or any night, really. Paying their players. And they finally paid Jamar Chase. He's the highest paid wide receiver in all of football. T. Higgins is shortly behind him with $28 million a year. And now they're hung up on Trey Hendrickson. And are they going to pay him? And, it sounds like they got the AAV down, but it's just the guaranteed money after the first year. So we'll see when that eventually happens, or maybe it doesn't. Who knows? But I guess my thing with the Cincinnati Bengals is, they drafted Shamar Stewart. They just picked up Noah Fant a couple of weeks ago. But can their defense help out Joe Burrow? Like, he had an all-time season a year ago. If they were, any closer to making the postseason. I think that Joe Burrow would have been an MVP consideration, but they were so far behind for the majority of the season, and then eventually they went on a winning streak to end up going 9-8. But yeah, can Joe Burrow get some help from his defense when he's putting up these ridiculous numbers and Jamar Chase is having an unbelievable season? Can he get some help defensively?
Yeah.
And is Zach Taylor on the hot seat? Like, this is 2 years in a row now where they haven't made the postseason. They were the team to slay the Chiefs at one point, came back from 21-3 at halftime and won in Arrowhead to go to the Super Bowl, ended up losing to the Rams. And then they go to the postseason that following year as well. But since then, they've been an utter disappointment with, with Joe Burrow's injury where whatever it was, the nerve damage in his hand, to then a year ago having an all-time season and the defense can't stop anybody. So that's the biggest thing. They changed their defensive coordinator. They got Al Golden from Notre Dame. They drafted Shamar Stewart, but he's behind the 8 ball because he was holding out in training camp. So, yeah, bottom line is defense needs to get their shit together.
Absolutely. Do you, and I want to kind of play this in a tie-in to this, this little battle that really you could lump the Ravens into this too, and maybe even the Bills. But this little battle that Ravens, Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals fans have about whose quarterback is better is always fun to watch.
Okay.
And this post from a Chiefs Twitter account went viral, accusing Tom Brady on Joel Klatt's show of taking shots at Joe Burrow when it was like the most general statement ever. But this is this was Brady on Klatt's podcast, and again from Chiefs Outsider. Some guy named Chris with a blue check mark. It has a hat photoshopped onto some reporter from Getty Images, probably. Here is Tom Brady.
So I just don't think as a quarterback you go and you punch the clock. I did my job. I threw for 40 touchdowns. Why are we not winning?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing in the offseason to help your defense? What are you doing to push the personnel department to get people doing the right thing? Are you involved in game planning? I mean, I used to do game plans.
Sure.
I used to walk in there and say, these are the things we're doing. Okay, I used to do my own walkthroughs. I used to go, all right, guys, I don't give a fuck if the coaches want to come. But we're doing our walkthrough.
Right.
We're going to come up with our own signals because this is what I need to be on the field to be successful.
So that got brought up by the Chiefs guy, said it was taking shots at Joe Burrow. I don't necessarily believe that, but I got to be honest. It's great that he's as a minority owner, and I'm going way off topic here. But to me, I'm just getting really annoyed by Tom Brady saying, well, see, this is how I did it. Why aren't other players doing it like this? And it's just, I hate that he's on this tour here where it's like, no, I'm the greatest of all time. You should be matching what I do. Like, dude, that's straight psycho stuff. Like, it's insane.
That's why I did have questions about him being a commentator where it was always going to relate back to him.
Right.
Same thing with Michael Jordan, whatever his role is now with the NBA on NBC.
Yeah.
It's always going to be like, well, I would do it this way. And you have to go into the mind of the person you're talking about sometimes. I don't necessarily know if he's talking about Joe Burrow there, but Tom Brady never played for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, you watch how this organization operates. Like, if you've seen A Football Life on Carson Palmer, for years he was trying to get involved with the game plans and in the offseason what players to go after. And every time he was met with, well, we don't have a GM. Like, well, get a GM then. And the owner would say, you don't need to concern yourself with that shit. And he would get so frustrated that he retired. Where Joe Burrow, he says all these messages to the media. Like, he basically got Jamar Chase paid. He got T. Higgins paid. He's trying to get Trey Hendrickson paid. But this organization is just so fucking cheap that he just sighs in these press conferences where he's like, there's only so much I could do. So when you watch the quarterback show on Netflix, you can't tell me that Joe Burrow is not doing everything in his power to be a better quarterback. He's just as psycho as Tom Brady is. He's just not given the luxury that Tom Brady had with, having a game plan with Bill Belichick or Josh McDaniels. Like, I think Joe Burrow has to deal with all the bullshit of being a Cincinnati Bengal.
Do you think with those four quarterbacks, with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes, do you think Burrow has more? Is this the right way to phrase it? Do you think he has more to prove among those four quarterbacks?
Why do you say that?
Because you see Lamar have the individual success. with the MVPs. You see Josh Allen win the MVP last year and how far they made it in the playoffs. It's not Joe Burrow's fault that the Bengals stunk last year. I mean, he was leading all quarterbacks in yardage, almost throwing for 5,000 yards.
In touchdowns, I want to say.
But if you're looking at it it feels like those guys have been more successful as far as team success in these past couple of years.
Yeah.
And obviously he reached a Super Bowl. Like it's a really weird question, I guess, but it's kind of broad. But it feels like Joe Burrow has more to prove as far as getting back to the Super Bowl or getting back into the playoffs, which he hasn't done in a couple of years.
I don't think it's him.
Yeah.
I think it's Zach Taylor.
That's the thing. It's not him. It's really the team that's the problem.
Yeah, like he's accomplished so much. Like he's an elite quarterback. He's right there. Like however you want to, do the rankings. Most people have Mahomes 1, and then it's your decision after that. If you want to go Lamar, if you want to go Josh Allen, if you want to go Joe Burrow, it's interchangeable. It's just in recent years, yes, the Ravens and Buffalo Bills have had more playoff success, where the Bengals, they were the only ones to defeat the Chiefs. So I think that Joe Burrow should get a pass on that. It's just now everything else. Joe Burrow's done his part. I don't think there's really any pressure on him. I don't think there's any pressure to win MVP. There's no pressure for him to get them back to the playoffs. It's on the defense. Like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson have benefited from having really good defenses, and Joe Burrow has not in the last 2 seasons. So I would say no, there's really no pressure on Joe Burrow.
Yeah, it's fascinating, man. I mean, if you're taking those 4 quarterbacks and you're talking about the quarterbacks alone, then you would probably say Burrow. But then you look at it in the context of those situations, and Mahomes and Allen and Jackson have had much better. Their teams have done right by them much more than the Bengals have by Joe Burrow. They've built it. And don't get me wrong. I mean, you got Jamar Chase and you got T. Higgins, and you've built a passing game around him. But the rest of the game, the rest of the team, rather, not so much.
No,
not so much.
No, definitely not. So, yeah, if anything, like Joe Burrow, if he goes out and has another season where he puts up ungodly stats and they miss the playoffs for whatever reason, that will fall squarely on Zach Taylor.
Yeah.
And I think the jury's still out on him. I do think he's a good coach, but yeah, he's at the mercy of Mike Brown and the Bengals and how they do business.
Yeah, Tom Brady was pretty vague. I think he was talking about most quarterbacks. It's not as say vague as what that Chiefs radio host said, where it's like Patrick Mahomes is fat.
Yep, big old fatty. All right, moving on.
Big old tub of fat.
Yeah, he's that whole rant might be the dumbest of the year. Pittsburgh Steelers, probably
weird. Such a strange team, bizarre.
Yeah, like when usually you talk about like an off season where a team went all in on getting like a bunch of big names. You're usually talking about like franchises that haven't won in a long time, like the Jets or Commanders or, any of these organizations that have failed over the years and have to basically overpay to get free agents. And they're the biggest, hype teams of the offseason. Like we saw it just a couple of years ago with the Jets, where they got Aaron Rodgers and they were the talk of the offseason. It's rare that the Pittsburgh Steelers ever operate that way. And it's not like they're getting guys that are still elite players today. Like maybe DK Metcalf is still that guy. Maybe Jalen Ramsey is still kind of like that guy, but he's on the back end of his career. Aaron Rodgers definitely is, because this is, basically he admitted this to everybody. This is his last season in the NFL. So it's just weird to me that they're operating this way. But then again, they never want to fully rebuild, like where the Niners are kind of open to it while always wanting to compete. The Steelers no, we're not doing it down here. We're always trying to win a championship. And, they never want to, fully commit to that and go 13-14 3-14 and have an awful season. I just wonder, can any of these guys still play? And not like, I do think they're going to be a really good defense. I just offensively, I have no idea how it's going to look. I don't know how Arthur Smith and Aaron Rodgers are going to gel together. like the names that they went after this offseason: Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Ramsey, DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, big name players. And yes, DK Metcalf can still play. Don't know if he's worth $33 million a year, but he definitely can still play. It's really just Aaron Rodgers. How the hell is Aaron Rodgers going to look in this offense? How is he going to be as a Pittsburgh Steeler? And is there any way that Mike Tomlin has some pressure on him? Not saying like even hot seat, but like the fans of Pittsburgh have definitely been pretty vocal about how it's just the same shit since Ben Roethlisberger retired. How they're a 10-7 team, they're 9-8, they make the playoffs, and they're out that quick. And nothing ever happens to Mike Tomlin. Will it change this season? Probably not, because this is just a one-year trial for Aaron Rodgers, and they committed to DK Metcalf and Jalen Ramsey. So maybe they'll build around the defense and look to get a young quarterback for the future. But yeah, is it just going to be the same old, where they're just a mid-level playoff team with no aspirations? I mean, they have aspirations, but will they compete with the Ravens? Will they compete with the Bills or the Chiefs? I highly doubt it.
I don't think so either. And I just don't think that I don't really think that Aaron Rodgers is going to take them to where they want to go. I think they're going to have the number one defense. I just think you're going to want to take the under on a lot of their games this year because the offense has just so much left to be desired. I don't know if Rodgers and DK are necessarily going to mesh. I still have to wait to see how that pans out. I think this defense is going to be as good as any in the NFL. Like on paper, they're going to be great. But the offense, there's just too many question marks. And I wonder if Rodgers got his helmet all fixed. Did he think that his brain was super big and needed this type of helmet? What happened?
I think it was a mini camp about the helmet. You didn't like what you had.
Yeah, I still don't like
Did
it.
you find? Yeah,
No, I don't like it. No, I'm trying to change. We're in the process still. Looks like a damn spaceship out there. I got to change it. Face mask doesn't fit the helmet because it's an old face mask, obviously, just like I'm old. But we're trying to find the right helmet right now.
There you go. Maybe they found the right helmet.
Well, let's hopefully he doesn't go through the whole thing of Antonio Brown from 2019, where it was the helmet, then it was his feet, and
Make way for Dark Helmet.
bet she gives great helmet. And then lastly here, the Cleveland Browns. I really don't know what to expect from them this season. I think it's just kind of, to be honest, they're not tanking, but I don't know if they want to win because the way that they're set up for next draft, they have 2 first-round picks. And I'm not saying like they're pretty, Jimmy Haslam knows the Manning family pretty well, and I don't think they're waiting on Arch Manning by any means. And one day I'll talk about that, how we need to pump the brakes on his expectations this season. But as far as the Browns, you're going in with Joe Flacco as your presumed starter for this season. I like Joe, and he had a really fun season a couple of years ago when he was comeback player of the year, but that seems just like, let's get by this season. Let's play with Joe because we know he knows the offense. And then eventually we'll see what happens with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. And speaking of that, like we said last podcast, Shedeur played really well last preseason. Was it amazing and the best thing ever in the preseason? No, but it was solid. And it's unfortunate he was going to get a start this week against the Philadelphia Eagles, and then he hurt his oblique, and he's probably not going to start. So that hurts him now, where I don't think he ever really was going to challenge Joe Flacco for the starting job, but maybe he could have been second string. And now with his injury, is Dylan Gabriel now going to see more time? He's got a hamstring injury as well. So I have no idea what the hell's going on with their quarterback situation. But yeah, my biggest question marks with the Cleveland Browns are they really trying to win? Like, is Myles Garrett totally over this thing with, the trade demand during the playoffs, and he got paid? So now is he all good with another 3-win season or a 4-win season? And also, is Kevin Stefanski on the hot seat? Because it seems like to me, like they kind of know what this season's going to be about. That's why they traded down. They could have got Travis Hunter, and in the end, they got Mason Graham, and then now they're rolling with Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. And I think it's going to be where they lose a lot of games, and you're going to have to see what you have quarterback-wise. Is Shedeur your future? Is Dylan Gabriel your future? And if not, then you move on quickly. And luckily, you have two first-round picks. But I don't think Andrew Berry's going anywhere because I think that Jimmy Haslam knows that he screwed this team over with his ambition to get Deshaun Watson when I'm sure everybody else in the room was like, we don't need him that bad. They gave him a fully guaranteed contract. It's all on the owner, and no one's going to fire him. So Andrew Berry gets the benefit of the doubt, but if they have another awful season, will Kevin Stefanski have the benefit of the doubt as well?
They're years away from being good. They really are. They're a 3-win team last year. What's going to give you reason to believe they're going to be, going to more than double that? Like if they get, I think they could get 6 wins maybe, and I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt because I think any team can get 6 wins. But what's really changed from last year to this year, except for this Deshaun Watson thing? You're not really focused on that. You are focused on the quarterback situation. I don't really know what else has changed. You still got Myles Garrett on the defensive end. You haven't really added on that side. They let go of Dalvin Tomlinson, who is playing in Arizona now. I don't really know what to expect from them. Really, I think this is just kind of what you call it with the Giants, an evaluation season for the Browns. Yeah. What do they really have?
Yeah.
Can they build around their quarterback? I do think, and this might be a need to save it to the Give It Till segment, but I do think that Shedeur is eventually going to take over the starting job. And that's just looking at the talent that they have. They don't have a lot of it. Like Joe Flacco is going to be fine for a few games. But Kenny Pickett was the only quarterback to have his own tier in the quarterback tiers list from Sando. Did you see that?
Not surprised. Because
did you see that? He was tier 5, which is more suited to be a backup.
Yeah. And you could probably say the same thing about Flacco. At this point in his career,
right?
He's good for a couple of games, but he's more of a journeyman quarterback, and he's suited to be the backup for a good team.
Yeah.
And I get it. He wanted a starting job this season. He thrived with the Browns a couple of years ago, but yeah, they're going to pull the plug on Joe Flacco. I don't know, week 5, and then it is an evaluation, Steven. They're going to play probably both Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, and if those guys pan out, then maybe they stick with them. But I truly believe that they're just trying to figure out how to go through this season and then get the quarterback they really want next year.
The Browns aren't exactly going to be on the top of my appointment viewing list when it comes to watching football.
No,
if the Browns play, they'd have to be playing a pretty damn good opponent. And all I really got, as far as watching them this year, is what their first 3 picks look like. Mason Graham, it seemed like he was touted as the best defensive prospect outside of Abdul Carter, and then he kind of just fell off. And then when the Browns took him, all of a sudden Mason Graham's not going to be good anymore. Still waiting for that. Carson Schwessinger was the guy that everyone was waiting for in the second round because he signed that contract. And obviously the Browns feel pretty damn good about him if they're going to give him a contract that hasn't been given out in the history of second rounders. And then there's Quinshon Judkins, who we obviously saw win a national championship. So yeah, man, I just think that those first 3 picks are even more enticing than, say, Shedeur. And maybe that's where they start to build, but this isn't going to be more than a 5-6 win team.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And speaking of Judkins, I guess he was, I don't even know the right term, exonerated of the allegations against him.
Right. I forgot.
At the airport, at Fort Lauderdale Airport, a couple months ago, where he was basically accused of throat punching his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what to make of all that. And when the stuff gets thrown away, you never really know what happened, but nothing's going to happen. He's going to play football this season. So don't know what to think about that. All right. So there you go. There is the AFC North. Before we get out of here real quick, Denzel Washington has been thoroughly entertaining the last few days when talking about sports. He's promoting this new movie he's doing with Spike Lee called Highs to Lowest, which I guess is a kind of a remake on a classic I want to say Japanese movie from back in the day. I want to say I saw this in a film class. I bet it's about a very wealthy man and his son gets kidnapped. But anyway, to promote the movie, Denzel Washington went on First Take. Do you mind getting this clip real quick, Steven? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Oh, First Take.
Have you seen this where he's talking about the Dallas Cowboys?
No. Oh,
so Denzel, I guess, grew up.
Oh, Derek, catch me off guard.
I'm sorry. Denzel grew up a massive Cowboys fan. And first and foremost, when Denzel speaks in these clips,
good, I got it.
He has like the way that he talks, he sounds like he's a character in Training Day or any of his classic movies where he's this intimidating guy. Just the way he's able to talk and like just basically tell you what's up, and the way that, he does his usual thing where he's like pointing down, like, this is what we're doing right here. Okay. I don't need to hear all that shit. Like Denzel, just the way he's talking about Jerry Jones here. You found this clip?
I did.
Yeah. It just sounds like he's in a movie. So yeah, this is Cowboys fan Denzel Washington talking about his disappointment with the way that Jerry Jones runs the Dallas Cowboys.
Makes no sense, guys. But you know this.
There's box office and there's Oscars. Jerry, been a while, huh? You ain't been to the show, you wouldn't know.
Ooh.
Wouldn't been to the show, you wouldn't know.
Uh-oh.
Haven't been to the show, so you wouldn't know what it is to win.
I don't need to add.
I feel like we could
And I love the Cowboys. I love the Cowboys because I really love them. This is why I feel the way I feel. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the movie.
And that's what. And I wanted to get back to the movie because you didn't bring the.
Speaking of the movie,
up in the
same thing.
Highest to lowest. You didn't bring it up.
And what does it say down the bottom of the movie?
What?
Or does it say it on the one sheet?
What does it say?
All money ain't good money, Jerry.
Say it again.
All money ain't good money, Jerry.
One time.
August 15th, we open Friday.
Woo, Lord.
All money ain't good money.
Good God.
Yeah, it's basically him at the end of Training Day just being like, I need my money, Jerry. Micah.
You bitch, you disloyal fool ass bitch made punk. Jerry!
Mike. Back in the day, I was able to recite that whole thing.
Can we do the thing on Sports Illustrated?
Yeah, of course. That's where I was going to go to next.
God, man. Like,
just the way, like, the music they added this to was so unnecessary, but it adds to it because this feels like him in a movie. So this is Denzel Washington being interviewed by Sports Illustrated, and he's asked, it's funny enough that he was being interviewed by Stephen A. Smith in the previous clip. He's asked about sports talking heads and their opinions.
Everybody's got an opinion. We live in a world of opinionaires. That's what I call them, opinionaires. They're all the shows, a bunch of guys, and a couple of them that have played, but most of them who have an opinion about what something should be when they haven't done it. Those who can't talk about those who can. Those who have know what they're talking about. Those who haven't don't. Period. Too much talking. Too much talking. Everybody got an opinion. Everybody's sitting around getting fat. Thinking they know how to do it. Just because you can sit behind a desk and chit chat doesn't mean you can do a damn thing.
Those are bars.
Come get up here with me. Let's find out. Come get in the gym with me. Let's find out.
I mean,
I don't know you.
We saw
But
you.
I can throw my hands. I can
We
do
saw
it.
you
I can
shadowboxing
sure do it.
in
I
the
can do it
Rolls
for-
Royce.
I can do
Y'all
it for
side
real.
by side.
I don't talk about it.
Well, let me
I'm
leave
not
you on
some
this.
skinny kid, who never played a day in his life, and now he can get back at everybody because he got a mic in his face and show. People need to shut up. People need to shut up. Learn how to do something. Be actually good at something. Try that.
whew.
So a couple things. Why is Denzel so mad? Like, is it just a sports fandom in him where he's watching all of these shows and he's like you or me, where it's like these opinions are ridiculous? And I think that over the years, you and I have, more so me, I've grown to appreciate real, because now I'm doing this myself on radio, where you have to form these takes and whatnot. And initially I was like, everybody doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Now I'm like, it's a hard job. It really is to go, plan a show every day and come up with opinions. But I do agree with Denzel where, yeah, this business of ours, we're talking about sports, it is kind of phony. Like we change our opinions every day and we don't know because we never played. So I agree with him to a certain extent, but I want to know why he's so mad about it.
I want to know who it's directed at. Like Otis said, Stephen A is catching strays, but he was just on Stephen A's show.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it's Stephen A that he's talking about.
I don't think so.
I think there's a lot more of these than I think there's a lot more of these podcasts that are out there than we realize that maybe he sees.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like such a insecure individual. So as I'm sitting here behind a desk who's tried to make a career off of giving opinions on a show called Just Your Opinion Man, and Denzel Washington says everyone's got an opinion, go be good at something. It's like, damn, hurts the core. Kind of makes you question your whole life existence, really. It's like, it happens every now and then. I'll get over it. And I'm making this about me. I'm going to do that. I'll get over it. But once I saw that this morning, I was like, damn.
I know. It's different when Denzel insults you.
Yeah.
It's almost like he went back to being Coach Boone. Yeah. You're like, oh man.
Yeah.
You're disappointed in me, and that hurts just so more.
Yeah. Yeah. At first he's saying like you're a fat guy with a microphone, which I am. I'm now overweight. And then he also says, who are you? Some skinny kid? I used to be skinny. It felt very personal.
He was going after you, Steven.
Listen, man, he brought up that opinion word more than I care to even remember already. And yeah, I do like the opinionaires. I like having that.
No, that was very well done. But like the way he's talking, it reminds me straight up of American Gangster, where he's talking to Russell Crowe, and he's like, I don't give a damn about no police. I remember the police coming to my house back in the day, putting a shotgun in my mouth, blowing my fucking brain, like just so intimidating. It was like, Jesus, Denzel, you're talking about sports for God's sakes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. But I do think there's an element of, I still do think there's like an element of us, not you and I like to think we do an okay job at this, where we're not like completely insulting the athletes that are playing, where I think there's a lot of that now, where I think people just straight up slander the people who are providing the entertainment. And I'd like to think we do an okay job at trying not to make it so much about the players. We're actually just talking about what's going on, and people who deserve to be criticized, we criticize them. But also, like, having opinions and all that is kind of what makes the world go around. So I wonder who really, like, who is he talking about? That's what I want to know.
I don't really know who he's talking about, but I'll say this. Me personally, if an athlete ever came after me about like whatever I said about them, I would have to own it and just be like, they know more than me. I really don't know what's going on. This job is so superficial, where we talk about things we think that we think we know what's going on, but we really don't. So I'll never say on the radio or here, that guy stinks or that guy sucks. That's just too insulting to me. Like, who am I to call somebody out like that?
Yep.
But I could say someone made a dumb play or someone did something, the wrong way, the way that I see it. But then again, do I really know? I have no idea. That's why, to be completely honest with all of you, I love doing this podcast and I love doing the show with Copes. But sometimes I think a little too much about it, where I'm like, do I really know what the hell I'm talking about? Does anybody really know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to this stuff?
Yeah.
Because we're not in the room with them. Like, this is the only job, and I guess like CNN or like, people that analyze politics, where they act like they're in the room and they know what should be done, but they really don't. Like, no other job is like that, criticized to that degree. Or sports, I guess politics are the same way, where so many people have an opinion on it, but they really don't know what the hell's going on. That's something I've always struggled with in sports media. Believe me, I love that my job is so much different than the average one, when I'm able to go to these games and, pretty much get to do what most fans would love to do. But at the same time, I do think about what Denzel's talking about, where it's like, we're just talking. We're acting like we know something, but we really don't.
Right. You bring me to something that I just wanted to bring up, because I every now and then on the podcast, I like to kind of mention something that's happening in the political world of the U.S. that I think is just wild. And it's more for the quotes that I read with this. And you bringing me to that, I'm kind of going off subject here.
No, it's
fine. the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You've probably never cared about it before. No one's really cared about it before, but that's the bureau that comes out with the employment numbers, and that's how you know how the U.S. is doing. It affects the bond market, all these different things about employment in the United States. It's from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and our president ended up firing the I believe it was the just the straight up leader, the director, I guess, of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the head of it, and hired someone else. And there was a bunch of economists who from both parties, by the way, both they were conservative, liberal, whoever. And the things that they had to say about this new guy that he hired to lead the the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the quotes on this are pretty wild. First off, this guy's name is EJ, right? And the comments from Axios on this new head of Bureau of Labor Statistics, an economist at the Conservative American Institute for Economic Research, wrote in a post on X that he's worked with Antony before, saying, quote, "I've been on several programs with him at this point and have been impressed by two things: his inability to understand basic economics and the speed with which he's gone MAGA." Another conservative economist cited examples of him appearing to misunderstand the data that he would be responsible for the Bureau of Labor Statistics, or his job. Another conservative from the Manhattan Institute showed an instance of Antony citing the rising number of Americans who aren't in the labor force without accounting for the role of aging population. Quote, "This is one of the many elementary errors that show me he is unqualified for the labor market data collection and analysis role he was nominated to." And another one, "The articles and tweets I've seen him publish are probably the most error-filled of any think tank economist right now. I hope we see better at BLS." And it just gets worse and worse. So you remember there was that story, I forgot whether it was regarding John Stockton or Michael Jordan, but someone saying that the scorekeeper was padding their statistics. It might have been Stockton.
I don't recall this. No.
Yeah, where they're like counting stuff as like assists when it wasn't really an assist, or I forgot which.
It's probably Stockton.
I forgot which player it was.
Okay,
but this reminds me of that. And the only reason that Trump ended up firing that previous person is because that person had reported on lows on highs for unemployment, and Trump did not like that. So now there's a new head of BLS, and that's what's going on in the world outside of sports right now. And that's just one thing. Could talk about, the National Guard being deployed in Washington, D.C., and how at some point we could see it in Oakland because the president made the statement about Oakland. Not saying it's going to happen, but it was all about like the homeless population. And obviously we know about how that's an issue in the Bay Area. Just very frightening stuff happening.
Well,
this is what I'm paying attention to other than Giants baseball.
No, I literally was about to say, well, at least you have Giants baseball to escape from all this stuff. Yeah. Yikes.
Wild, man.
All right, everybody. That's going to be it for tonight. I am extremely tired, but I want to thank everybody that showed up to our Dirty Work screening last night to watch the movie at the Alamo Draft House. So thank you for coming out to that. Everybody that's most of you that are not in the chat right now, or most of you that are in the chat did not come out, but that's okay. Thanks to Jordan Jordan works with us at KMBR, and Lauren, and who else? Wes and Pat H. Thank you guys for coming out to that. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm a little tired today from how late we were hanging out. But yeah, we'll see you guys on Sunday. To everybody in the chat, thanks to Ernie One. And Ernie One, I got your message about the best tacos in Oakland. I'm sorry, man. Sometimes I just can't respond. And if I was giving an answer, Toto's right next to me. That's a good spot to get burritos and tacos. So next time you need a taco in Oakland, check out that place. Thanks to Otis Bird. Thanks to AJ Cruz. Thanks to Rocca Nuera. Thanks to Lauren F. And I believe that's it. All right, everybody. We'll be back on Sunday. We'll talk about the Raiders and 49ers in their preseason game. We'll probably review or preview the NFC North Division. And yeah, we'll see you guys on Sunday. Until then, Steven, say what you always say.
Toto's Tacos. It's just our opinion, man.